That's it. Touchdown.
And we've got to thank God every minute of every day. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's time for In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham. I'm happy to be here. I will be the co-host. My name is One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. His name is Joe Hamilton, former Heisman runner-up, Mr. Georgia, Mr. South Carolina, South Carolina Hall of Fame, Georgia Hall of Fame, ACC player. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. But good morning to everybody that's in the chat, and good morning to you, Ham. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling ready to chop it up, Stu. Ready to chop it up, man. I hope all is well with you. And by the looks on your face and that big smile, Kool-Aid smile, I think you're ready to rock and roll as well, man. Yes. Rock and roll time it is.
I am ready to rock and roll every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. I mentor the youth at Mary Buckner Middle School here. Mary Buckner Elementary School here in Columbus, Georgia, or Georgetown Elementary School here in Columbus, Georgia. And today, after I got through with my session, the chair of the committee wasn't there. So I did it by myself, and that's all good. But when the kids left, after I asked them some questions and I talked with them, when the kids left, I sat there and was making some notes about the session. Oh, let me rewrite the roll that they signed so the names will be legible. Oh, let me clean this up. Oh, I forgot to move this chair back. Oh, dang it. I forgot. I got to, this table, I got to clean this table off. And maybe I'll be nice and take the trash. While I'm taking the trash out, and this is In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham, on One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. While I'm taking the trash out, I said, man, there's something I'm supposed to be doing. I look at my clock. It's 11:15. I'm about 25 minutes from the house. What am I supposed to be doing? In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Now, prior to going to the school, in the car with my computer up, taking notes for the rundown that you sent on yesterday. So I didn't forget about the show, but there's just so much going on. Let me call and remind Miles he's got to do this. This is the first day he's going to drive himself to the drums by himself today. I need to make sure he's got the money to pay. It's just always something to do. So I say all that to say I was a tad flustered coming into the show today. But now that we're here, we're set up, we're going, we've got our audience, people are listening and watching, and on the heels of what you just said, I am elated and very excited to delve into some of these topics today.
Yeah, and that's why I like the title of the show, In the Huddle with Joe Ham, because huddle up. It's huddle up time, and when you're a quarterback, all you want is those other 10 guys, hey, all eyes on me, and it's got to be an emphatic play call.
Right.
I just told Skylar last night, and I was talking to my dad about these quarterbacks.
And when you say Skylar, please tell people who you're referring to.
Skylar Hamilton, my quarterback that's in the house, my second quarterback. And oh, by the way, we are going on his first official visit tomorrow to Army, West Point, Army, and I can't wait for that. So he's got a few of them set up coming up soon.
Hey, please remember what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Ain't too many people that go to Army, go to the Citadel, go to the Air Force Academy. Ain't too many people that go to the military academies that don't come out of there with their ears together. I don't know if you ultimately choose them, but if he does, you probably couldn't have a better school for him to go to.
Bottom line. And they weren't on the radar. And they weren't on the radar going into this season. I didn't know anything or too much about them. But the research and listening, those guys are set up. Those guys are absolutely set up. But there's something, Stu. There's something, if I come in that huddle and I say, hey, gather up, guys, no matter what I'm trying to get you to do, run a play, clean up the house, tear down some trees, what have you. If I come in there mumbling and jumbling, not having faith in what I'm about to say, not confident in what I'm about to say, that result is not going to be good.
Agreed.
That's not going to be good. Whether I agree with the success or whether it's going to, we need to, we climbing uphill, or this is an insurmountable battle, insurmountable task, whether that's whether that's fact or not, how you say it is crucial as a quarterback.
Right.
Double right, scat right, 346 hitch, on one, ready break.
Right.
No. Hey, this is what I got for you guys.
Right.
Hey, O-line, I need some protection here. We got a big one. Double right, scat right, 346 hitch, on one. Let's go.
Right.
It means something. That's how fired up I am right now.
Every single Monday and Thursday on this very same platform, you can catch myself and my brother Doug, the Two Live Stews, for your Two Live Stews experience that happen every single Monday and Thursday at 7 o'clock on YouTube. Stuart Media and Entertainment is the platform that you can find it on YouTube. However, if you can't catch it live on Monday and Thursday at 7 o'clock, you can go back to the very same platform on YouTube and catch it whenever time allows you. It's the same with this, everybody that's watching. In the Huddle with Joe Ham is a show that we do on Wednesdays, typically at 12. If we can't get to it at 12 on Wednesdays, we push that thing back to 8 or 9 o'clock because it is imperative that we bring you in the Huddle with Joe Ham every single day where we dig into sports a little deeper than Doug and I do. Before we get started, I've asked you how you're doing. We've talked about that. We've yapped and chummed it up. The rundown that you sent had between 7 to 10 things on it. You initially said that you wanted to start with the college football. But since you sent that rundown that was starting with college football, there's been a huge firing in the National Football League. Mike Tomlin, not firing, I apologize. That's not the correct words. Mike Tomlin has stepped down from the head coaching position at the Pittsburgh Steelers, a position he's held for damn near 20 football seasons. So my question to you, while I remind you that last week we talked John Harbaugh. Last week we talked John Harbaugh for over an hour before attempting to get to other things on the rundown. My question to you, because this is In the Huddle with Joe Ham, do you wish to continue starting by the massive game we'll be watching this coming Monday in the college football playoffs between Miami and Indiana? Do you still want to start there? Or did the huge news of Mike Tomlin stepping down make you want to redistribute how we give our information today and start there? Your thoughts, sir, please.
Redistribute.
Okay.
Redistribute. And I don't think, Stu, that we'll go an hour on Mike Tomlin. We might, but here's why. That really surprised us last week with John Harbaugh. That was a wrench, a gut wrench on how it happened. And while it was surprising yesterday, because that was really, really quick, it is breaking news. And I would put that above right now because the national championship is not at hand. And while we would not have an in between the in the Huddle with Joe Ham session going on before the national championship game, we can get to that. I'm itching to hear your thoughts about Mike Tomlin. Itching.
Former defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings got hired about 20 years ago to be the third head coach in 40 years at the time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since then, he has stepped away, and he is now, in essence, trying to figure out what he will do next. He's got several options. There's teams that have called that are inquisitive about what he will be doing next. There's networks that have called to say, if you're thinking about taking a year off and you want to talk some sports, we would love to have you. And there's also people saying that maybe, and I say people, not Tomlin. There's also some people saying that maybe Mike Tomlin will take a year off to relax, to find himself, to travel, to sit down and go to the 31 other teams that's in the National Football League to talk to them about what they think should be his next move, who they think he should hire when it comes to hiring another staff if he does that. Joe, I say all that to say this. Please share your thoughts on the first feelings you felt when you heard and or read that Mike Tomlin was no longer the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The minute I heard it about noon yesterday while I was watching, I think one of the Sports Center shows on ESPN, I thought that, I said to myself, Mike Tomlin had made up this decision already. Mike Tomlin had in his mind this, as soon as we play our last game, not thinking that it was going to be in the wild card first round at home, or maybe it end up in the Super Bowl. But as soon as we were finished with our last game, I'm going to retire. Why do I say, excuse me, I'm going to step down. Why do I say that, Stu? Because, man, it wasn't 24 hours, brother. It wasn't 24 hours before he announced that, hey, I'm going to be stepping down. When was his thought process? When did he allow himself to think through the whole career, 19 years, through the whole season? Can I run it back with this same roster? Will I have, the ingredients to compete again? How do I feel inside? Do I have the energy? This is something when you're talking about Mike Tomlin, who has all his ducks in a row. He's gonna survey every single thing. He's gonna look at his body. He's gonna look at his family. He's gonna look his wife in the eyes, and he's gonna say, not just on Tuesday after you played a Monday night game within 12 hours, let's make this decision. It had been talked about. And my second thought, Stu, when I thought about that, be careful what you wish for, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Because Mike Tomlin, although he is sturdy and he's stoic and he keeps the main thing, and the standard is the standard, if you cut him, he'll bleed. And when you sit there with everything that you have done for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and franchise, and you start to hear boo birds and fire Tomlin and those things, like, my God, guys, I mean, you're running me out of town. And those are the first two things that came to my mind. And I was so happy, Stu. I was so happy that the Rooney's back was not against the wall and Mike Tomlin's back was not against the wall, to where we had to hear the word fired or resign or mutual agreement. I was also ecstatic that when you heard the Rooney put out a statement as far as what happened, that it caught them by surprise and they would have wanted Mike Tomlin back. So this is a decision coming strictly from Mike Tomlin. And remember, there are 9 coaching vacancies in the NFL. 8 of those 9, those head coaches got fired. And only 1 vacancy is where somebody stepped down. And that guy that stepped down was Mike Tomlin. Those are my thoughts right now. And what I say, Stu, shout out to Mike Tomlin. Job well done.
Well done. In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm one live Stu Ryan Stewart. You said a mouthful. Let's start here. And it's one of those things that we talk about often on this show. You and I will never know. We can read, we can do research, but there's certain things that take place in this world where if you're not a fly on the wall in the room, there's no way you ever know. The owner of the Baltimore Ravens is Steve Bisciotti.
Yes.
The general manager of the Ravens is Eric DeCosta. Prior to Eric DeCosta being the general manager, it was Ozzie Newsome, former player, former Raider great, built the dynasty that we know of in the last 2 decades, known as the Baltimore Ravens, with John Harbaugh. He was the
Ozzie Newsome was a Raider?
Come on, man, you know that.
I thought he was a Brown. Oh, okay, I thought he was a Brown. I thought he was a Cleveland Brown. I digress. It's no huge deal.
It could be both. Let's see.
Be both.
I want to see. Now you got me. I'm going to remember your task.
I think he was a Brown, Stu, dog. And he could have been a Raven, but his whole career, his Hall of Fame career was.
I definitely know he was a Brown. Cleveland Brown, tight end, 78 to 89, 23rd overall pick in the first round. He was a baller. Hall of Fame inducted as a player in 99. You're correct. There's no tie to the Raiders. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think that? That's neither here nor there. Thank you for the correction. Thank you for the correction. The point I'm trying to make is I don't think Mike Tomlin went into the Pittsburgh Steelers organization to say, I don't want to be here no more.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't think that. However, I think that the Pittsburgh organization and the Rooneys respect that office so much that even though they may have wanted him gone, firing him is not something that they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's being business savvy, and that's also showing respect to the guy that you do have enormous respect for.
Yes.
If you fire Mike Tomlin, he's on the open market to go and do whatever he wants to do the minute you say your duties here are over. If y'all come to an agreement and he resigns and or steps down, you still have his rights for the remainder of his contract, which is 1 more year.
Excellent, Stu. Yep.
So that's why everyone that says Mike Tomlin more than likely will definitely remain out of football for the next upcoming year, they're saying that because the Pittsburgh Steelers still have the rights to Mike Tomlin for the next season. If someone like Atlanta, like the Ravens, if someone that you mentioned with these 9 current coaching vacancies, if someone from one of those 9 teams come and say, we want Mike Tomlin, they're not calling Mike Tomlin.
Yes,
they got to call the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's correct. That is correct. That is
had
correct.
he been fired, then they could contact him directly because he's not under contract with anybody. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. I'm not buying the Rooneys telling Mike Tomlin, you got to go. I'm not buying that.
Mm-mm.
I do buy that one entity being Mike Tomlin and the other entity being the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do buy how both of them probably say it may be time for a change. It may be time.
Oh, that's good. That is good. That is real good, Stu. I can see that happening. I can see that happening, and I can see it happening that Mike Tomlin is such a stand-up guy. This is the outcome he wanted. He wanted to be able to leave the Pittsburgh Steelers to where they can get compensated, even if he decides to do something else, but in between that year. But here's the deal. The only thing I'm saying about Mike Tomlin going into that meeting, they said that he still came in early, 5:30 that morning. That would be Tuesday morning. And then they still had a standard 2 p.m. team meeting. In between that time, I think they were just chopping it up. I don't think it was any angst in that room. I think it was appreciation in that room. I think it was a lot of hugs. I think it was questions going back and forth that said, how are you feeling going forward? How do you feel going forward? Because here, what could Mike Tomlin be disgruntled about as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers? I don't think, although he's not the GM, he has say in who they bring in. And that's evident to where how Aaron Rodgers talks about him. And the only reason Aaron Rodgers went to the Steelers was because of Mike Tomlin. So he has some say in the roster. So total control. So I think it was a decision to where if he wanted to come back, the Pittsburgh Steelers would allow him to come back because, to your point, that's just not something they would do. And if they tried to run Tomlin out, why don't you think Tomlin would do what Harbaugh did? Right. Harbaugh had that same opportunity. But that same who you talking about, the owner, Bisciotti, and the general manager, DeCosta, they tried to make it plain to us. This was a firing. Yeah. Why was it a firing? Because John Harbaugh did not want to exit. John Harbaugh still wanted his job. I think the writing was on the wall for Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin wanted to start fresh. And I firmly believe that it wore on him as far as the appreciation. 19 years, he alluded to his kids out of high school now, going to college, that he's going to enjoy himself. But that is a guy right now on the market. That's who I love as head coaches, a CEO that cannot have his hand on on one particular offense, defense, or special teams, but he can have his hands on everything.
It is in the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I am One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder, you can catch the 2 Live Stews tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for your 2 Live Stews experience. I'm going to play some sound from a show that I watch from time to time. It's the Colin Cowherd show.
Yes.
And after we watch this video together, we'll come back on the other side and have a little conversation.
Mike Tomlin has officially stepped down after a historic 19-season run. I think it's the right move. Fans are chanting, fire Mike Tomlin. It's time. I think Pittsburgh needs a reset as an organization. It's easy to just blame Mike Tomlin. If I was the Steelers, I would offer the job today to Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski, how sweet would that be? The Browns let him go. 2-time NFL Coach of the Year, Pittsburgh. The winner in this is the New York Giants. Now they've got Harbaugh, Stefanski, and Mike Tomlin. Suddenly it went from a lean coaching market to the best in a long time.
In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham, I am one live student Ryan Stewart. Where do you want to start with that, Joe?
I want to start by, I did some research for you to kind of digest and swallow up. Okay. It's not going to be Kevin Stefanski. Okay. It's not going to be going to the Steelers now. Not anybody that you know. Mm-hmm. No name that is coming up right now.
They don't do that.
No, sir. No, sir. They don't do that. We had not. I had heard of Mike Tomlin before he got hired to the Pittsburgh.
As too did I.
Because he was on the staff when I was at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I had not heard of Bill Cowher when he was a special teams coach at the Kansas City Chiefs before he got hired. And we all know we weren't born when the Rooneys, come on, give me the first coach, the legendary coach with the 4 Super Bowl.
Chuck Noll.
Chuck Noll. We weren't around who his age, but I know he was a young coach. But those guys were both 34 years of age. Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin, and nobody had heard of their names surfacing as far as hot candidates. So
Stop right there real quick. It's funny to me how every coach since 1969 that the Steelers have had has not been fired. All of them.
They get it right, brother.
It's funny to me how every coach since 1969 that they've hired has been a young, up-and-coming coordinator that was somewhat unknown, but how every coach since 1969 that has been hired by that family, the Rooneys, and by the Pittsburgh Steelers, none of them have been fired. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, now Mike Tomlin. These people, as we alluded to last week, they get it, Joe.
They get it. And you know why? And you know why they hadn't fired anybody? Because they don't listen to Colin Cowherd. They don't listen to our highest Kevin Stefanski right now. Hey, Kevin Stefanski didn't get it done in Cleveland. Now, obviously,
why am I bringing him in here from a team in the same division that didn't win with his services, that's coming off of a year where they don't even make the playoffs? Why am I hiring him to come coach my team?
And not only that, and I'm on Kevin Stefanski is a solid coach, but anytime to me, your head coach struggles in his go-to side of the ball, and that's not the strength of the team anymore, that sends alarm clock bells in my ear. Kevin Stefanski botched the quarterback situation in Cleveland, and he botched the offense. So don't tell me he's going to come in here and we don't have a quarterback on our roster that's experienced, and he's just going to galvanize the team. I don't say he's not going to be successful, Kevin Stefanski, but that's not how the Rooneys do it.
As management, and see, that's how the Nordics work too. The Nordics' job is to get another Nordic an opportunity. The Nordics' job is to, if there's a Nordic that I like that may be down on his luck, I'm going to use this platform and this microphone right here to push another Nordic I like into that opportunity. Dayball, Stefanski, why the hell the Steelers want them on the heels of their last job? Does that make any sense?
None, because they don't play merry-go-round. Just like you just alluded to, they don't play merry-go-round, so they're not going to go for guys that has been fired, guys that were unsuccessful, and not to say they can't miss, but they haven't yet. They haven't met. Why? Because they do their due diligence and they listen. They tune out the outside noise about what everybody else thinks. It's going to have to be a guy that is vetted by the Rooneys and has great leadership. Great leadership.
My question and comment to you before we go pay some bills really briefly and come back and stay on this for just another brief, quick second before we move on. My question to you is, if you can hire someone that you think is a great defensive coordinator or great offensive coordinator that's never had a head coaching job, that's who them people looking for.
Yep.
They don't want to retread.
Nope.
They don't want someone that did not have success last year.
No. I know you'll know.
Andy Reid ain't getting this job. They're not calling Andy Reid. He's a very successful coach, but they're not calling Andy Reid for this job. They're going to find somebody that we have never, ever said.
No, sir.
Get this job to be there and build a program for the next 10, 15 to 20 years. Before we pass the bills, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Well, you'll know this name. Excuse me for not doing my quick research, but who are we going to hear of and the candidates going to be like the one I'm about to name now? Who's the defensive coordinator for your NFL team? Is it Shepard, Kelvin Shepard?
Okay, yeah.
Kelvin Shepard, that's who they go for. Right. That's the names. Very, very few people know. Yes, he was a defensive coordinator for 1 year, and every time you heard him speak in his press conference and talk about the defense, we rave about him. I raved about him, and those are the type of people that the Pittsburgh Steelers go after. Young, up and coming, that can galvanize a whole organization and city.
You know another great name that I like? Defensive coordinator right now for the Minnesota Vikings, Flores. But it won't be Flores. It won't be Flores. No, it's not going to be a name that we know. Your suggestion is a very good one, but it's not going to be a name that we hear all these talking heads talking about right now. We'll stay on this for another brief moment, get back before we move forward. Before we get into the college football talk, which has to take up a bulk of our time, there's so many facets to talk about it. Ooh, the semifinal games, the game now that we know will be the finals game, that being Miami and Indiana. So much to talk about.
The idea that grown men are playing for Indiana now.
We'll pay some bills. It's in the order with your boy Joe Ham. I'm one live student Ryan Stewart. We'll be back in a brief 45 to 55 seconds. Y'all keep it locked. Listen, I played in the NFL. I've taken enough shots to last a lifetime. And let me tell you this, taking a shot just to lose weight, that's not a smart play. That's why I roll with Brain IQ. The all-natural weight chews cut cravings, boost metabolism, and sharpen focus. No needles, no chemicals, no crash. Just results you can chew on. And Brain IQ is not just about weight chews. They've got a full lineup of all-natural products to keep your mind sharp, your body fueled, and your health on point. Skip the needles, choose natural. Order now. BrainIQHealth.com/REF/1LiveStew. Brain IQ Chews. Smart, natural, built for results. In the huddle with your boys, Joe Hamilton and Ryan Stewart. He's Joe. I'm Ryan, and this is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Don't forget you can catch the Two Live Stews tomorrow morning, every Monday, every Thursday, 7 o'clock. Two Live Stews Experience goes down. Some really good stuff to talk about tomorrow on the Two Live Stews. But let's finish things up right here with the Pittsburgh Steelers talk and the Mike Tomlin talk when it comes to him resigning from the post and the position of head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's talk about the game. That we saw between the two teams. Joe, the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't bring anything to the table.
They don't have anything to bring. and it's shameful because they won a division. So, I'm being facetious a little bit, but they won a division. But when you look at it, they won a division without DK Metcalf. And they look like a worse team with him in the wild card game.
Right.
They could not protect Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers he looked very old. I'm talking in the first quarter when that pass rush got to him. He threw a ball and got a flag for intentional grounding. There
was one time where he got sacked, and not because one of the Texans got to him, but because he fell over somebody that was already on the ground. That went down as a sack. So the first person that touched him was the person that got the sack. But yeah, he didn't look like the Aaron Rodgers of old. He looked like an Aaron Rodgers that was trying to get passes off, and he had a decent year, but he looked like Aaron Rodgers that was afraid that pass rush was going to get to him every snap.
Yeah, and it's gonna haunt Aaron Rodgers how his career is gonna end. And not because they lost. I think he really enjoyed this past year with the Pittsburgh Steelers without a doubt at all. But your last pass, pick six, you don't want that as an inside feeling. So you want to erase that. But here I want to present this to you, Stu, before we move on.
Please.
Everything you said about the Pittsburgh Steelers and hadn't fired a coach in 45 years and those type of things, the organization is stable. This is not a good job currently. No, it's a good job for a head coach to say, I want stability and I want to make sure that they're going to give me time to build a team. They're going to be very patient for me to establishing a culture, back to physicality, what you're known for when you watch the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if you look at the roster, you go to the roster and say, at least we have who? TJ Watt and then who else?
Oh. Because
they're going to want to cut tie with Cam Hayward. He's old and he's getting paid a lot of money.
Yep.
I'm not looking at Jalen Ramsey to be back anymore.
No, I agree.
So you look at the skill position, DK Metcalf is a really good player, but come on, who are you going to build around? So on paper, this is not one of the sexiest jobs this year. Now, it's a very sexy organization, stand-up organization, but the roster right now currently it's not a roster where you would put all these openings. That Pittsburgh Steelers job coming open would be a must get if you're a head coach.
In the huddle with your boy, One Life Stu. This is Joe Hamilton. We are in the huddle with him. I'm just a co-host here. Every Monday and Thursday, you can catch the Chill Out Stews, but every Wednesday, you can catch Joe and I here, typically around noon. But if we can't make that noon time work, we'll push this thing back to 8 or 9 o'clock. But we will be doing a show on Wednesdays. Joe, I'm going to jump around a little bit because I think there's a few games that we want to talk about. But before we do that, we talked about Mike Tomlin stepping down, and we talked about, you just now mentioned it, sexy position, sexy hire. Out of the 9 coaching vacancies, Coach Ham, right now, what's the sexiest job in your humble opinion? Wow.
ATL. And here's why.
For the viewers that's not
I'm sorry.
For the viewers that's not using a visual medium, if you're just listening to the show, Joe is wearing an ATL jersey. And when I asked that question, sexiest open vacancy that's available, he pulled up his jersey to show the ATL on it. Joe, why do you think the ATL is the sexiest vacancy that's open right now?
I'm not running from competition at all, Stu, but it's one that you don't have very many expectations going in year 1, year 2. The expectation is going to be to win the division. The NFC South was not that good. The expectation is going to be able to get Michael Penix Jr. Solidified or validate the number 8 overall pick, and you have pieces in place. You have an all-world, a top 7 wide receiver in Drake London, a top running back 1 in Bijan Robinson. You had a defense that improved tremendously with sacks, finishing top 5 in sacks. And those 2 first-round draft picks that you drafted last year, you just absolutely hit on those guys. You still got A.J. Terrell. You still got Jesse Bates in the back end. You got those linebackers flying around almost to the point to where I wouldn't be mad if the new head coach keeps Jeff Albrecht on staff, but I'm not sure if they're going to do that. That's the way that defense improved. And I know what you're going to say about the Baltimore, not you, but in general, but the Baltimore Ravens. You have the 2-time MVP. They are a close second to me. They're 2-time MVP, Derrick Henry in the backfield, but how many more years do he have left? But where do you go from there? Are you going to trust Zay Flowers? Are you trusting a Mark Andrews that's really on the back end or the back 9 of his career, so to speak? That defense that is always put together is a great organization, yes. And then we go to the Giants. For me, it's third, Stu. Giants for me, the third, because everything is in place that way, too, as far as Jackson Dart, quarterback, Malik Neighbors. Hopefully he comes back off of that Achilles or maybe ACL tear next week healthy and ready to go because he was the Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, lighting it up. But I have to go to the Atlanta Falcons, and not just because I'm here and I wanted to represent that way. When you look at it and you're not in New York, expectations there are going to be there regardless. And that's not saying anybody's not going to be a competitor. You want the heat, but you want to be able to do your job, comfortably a little bit too. But I just think the weapons and the youth that the Atlanta Falcons present gives me the sexiest job.
Joe, I think that when it comes to looking at the best job from a future coaching perspective, I think you got to look at three things. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong and please correct me. If you want to add or subtract from what I'm about to say, please don't hesitate to do that either. But I think you got to look at ownership first. Is this an owner that spends his money? The Cincinnati Bengals have ownership that doesn't dig into the pockets, doesn't spend a lot of money, don't have a plethora of scouts all around the country. Got a handful of scouts that are told they need to scout all around the country. So what's ownership look like when you're looking for a job? Second question. If you can take a job that's already got the most important position in all of sports, you're going to be in a better situation. That's the quarterback. You don't want to come in with the understanding that we're going to get us a quarterback because you don't know who you're going to get and how that's going to work. You want to come into a system where you have seen said quarterback have success. You have seen said quarterback showing and exhibiting a strong arm. You have seen said quarterback having extensive leadership skills to not just lead your offense, but lead your entire team. Not just lead your team, but lead your entire franchise. And lastly, the sexiest job is going to be one that comes with the ownership, the quarterback, and if there's some semblance of a defense. Because as important as the quarterback is just as important for the defense to be good too, because you need points to win games, but a good defense will stop any offense from scoring points to give your offense the ball with more scoring opportunities. So owner, quarterback, and defense. And if you put all of the 9 teams one by one on a scale to see which side would drop and which side was lift, the dropping side being the heavier side, the dropping side being the better side because it's lifting the other team up. If you put Baltimore on one side and Atlanta on one side, which way is the scale going to tip, Joe?
Baltimore. It's going to tip to Baltimore, and I'm not sure.
I'm not knocking you in Atlanta. Atlanta's got, I believe that Arthur Blank has spent money trying to show the world he'll do it. Hell, he just gave a torn Achilles quarterback $100 million guaranteed and turned around and spent the money that it took to draft another quarterback, number 7. That's good ownership in Atlanta, just like Biscotti in Baltimore. But the quarterback situation here in Atlanta compared to Baltimore and compared to New York is a current nightmare.
Yeah, current nightmare. Absolutely. So no doubt about it. You know, that was my second pick, and you're right. I can't argue with that at all. I can't argue.
And I'm not trying to be right or wrong. We're just talking. I'm not trying to be right or wrong.
I absolutely loved your list. I would only substitute number 3 when you say defense. Which you're right, and I'm not even going to substitute. I just add on to it. I'll add on skilled players, and that goes along with the defense, and it goes along with who's there. Just skilled players. How many dogs do I have? How many go-getters do I have?
Right.
But also, I would like to add to. I'm not saying 1, 2, or 3. I would add to a number 4, if you will, Stu. The relationship. If I'm a coach, the relationship between myself and the GM. Okay. Do I have any way with what Bill Parcells was famously for saying that they want me to cook the dinner, but they don't want me to shop for the groceries?
Right.
And I don't necessarily think that a head coach or a new head coach that you're going to bring in needs all the say so of the GM, but it's going to have to be a relationship. And one of those questions I would have to ask is that GM already there? Is he going to come in with me? Is he going to be the one hiring me? Am I going to be the one, like Atlanta situation? Are you going to hire a head coach first? Or are you going to hire a GM first? Right. Or a GM going to hire the head coach? So those things are very, very important because I always look back at that marriage between John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Mm-hmm. That was one that was so perfect because both got 6-year deals. Both were never in their job before, although Kyle Shanahan had called plays before as an offensive coordinator. You know about his dad, but John Lynch was a very, very good football player, won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, but he had never been in the front office as a GM. Matter of fact, he came up the analyst booth working with Fox. So 6 years, and they had a friendship already. So I think that's very important, how you build a team in the wants of a head coach and the direction of a general manager as well. So that's an outstanding list.
This is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. We just talked about sexiest coaches. We just talked about not sexiest coaches, sexiest coaching opportunities for coaches. It sounds like you're of the thought process that the Falcons are 1, the Ravens are 2, and the Giants are 3. Am I right with saying that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and I simply think that the Ravens are 1, the Giants are 2, and the Falcons are 3. I don't think anybody's wrong with that, but I'm very excited to see how the dominoes start to fall here within the next week or so, because I don't think Harbaugh is going to be taking a long time to take a job. I think he will be taking one, and I do think that Mike Tomlin may take some time off. Sir, research showed me that Mike Tomlin has made, and I hate putting my hand in people's pockets, but Mike Tomlin has made more than $40 million in salary money from the Baltimore Ravens. And maybe it's me, but you give me that kind of bread, man. As glory-filled of a position that being the head coach is, man, let me just take my money and go ahead and do a few other things, man. It's so much time that goes into making the $10 to $12 million that you may make as a coach. It's so much time that goes into scouting. It's so much time that goes into the mini camps. It's so much time that goes into two-a-days. These coaches during the season, they're at the stadium from 4:30, 5 o'clock to 8:30, 10:30. When they get home, the kids are still asleep. When they leave home to go back to work, the kids are still asleep. Bobby Ross and Wayne Fontes talked about the two head coaches I had while I was in Detroit. Bobby Ross and Wayne Fontes talked about the importance of the 1 day per week they allowed the coaches and their families to come to the stadium to have lunch together. And how big of a deal that was to him and the staff. It's
not that you go home, and not that you go home, they come where you are.
They come where you are.
In which they appreciate it.
They appreciate that. But that coach can't take his wife in the office and get no nookie real quick.
No. And Stu, I would add to that because earlier, and I've heard the same thing you heard about.
No, the nookie's important. I'm sorry.
Very important.
Go ahead.
You see your wife up in how long? A couple of days. Let alone you have a big week. Let alone you play on a Sunday and Thursday on a short week. I mean, come on.
Where's the family time?
And that's why they talk about the tight-knit family, what a football locker room and a football coaching staff, adhere. And to be a successful franchise, you have to have that. But to your point, what you just said, who's to say Mike Tomlin wants to bite off the media?
Right.
Yeah, you can pay him
another full-time job.
Yes, you can say, yeah, I mean, he can make whatever amount of money he can
make.
He
gonna make $20 million. He gonna make $10 million. Okay, go ahead.
But to your point, though, Stu, I looked that up as well. The highest paid coach in the NFL, everybody would not disagree with is Andy Reid. Andy Reid, and I didn't know these coaches were making this much money. Andy Reid is making $20 million.
Yes.
Sean Payton is making 18.
Yes.
John Harbaugh was making 18.
Yeah.
And there you sit Mike Tomlin right there, $17 million a year.
And
how long he's been doing? How long has he been a coach there? Not making that much because he just did his contract extension.
Right.
But man, he's handsomely paid. So I don't know about that money driving him to do other things after this offseason.
And speaking of being handsomely paid, when you hire a John Harbaugh, when you hire a Mike Tomlin, you're going to be hiring those two coaches to give them a pay raise. Tomlin ain't going to come in to make the same amount of money he made the current deal. He's going to come in for more money on a new deal. John Harbaugh not going to sign with somebody, say he goes to Miami. He's not going to tell them folk down there that run the waste management company, I'll take $36 million for the next 2 years. He going to say, yeah, man, I was making that already. You got to give me 40.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And it's so much work. I've told people for years, I had the opportunity to coach at several different places, especially the last few years at different high schools. I get a high school opportunity to coach often. Mm-hmm. And I keep telling them, I still got to drive my kids to practice back and forth. My kids are going to need me at their school when I'm going to need to be at your school doing whatever you want me to do outside of my coaching activities. So I have to pass. When I left Detroit, after I got cut the last time, they allowed me to rehab in Detroit at the training facility in Detroit as long as I wanted to. Why? They thought I was going to get the coaching bug and want to stick around and be in those meetings. Want to be an assistant. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to stick around for 2 or 3 weeks to rehab while hopefully I get another opportunity. But if I don't get another opportunity to play ball within the next month, I'm going back to Atlanta to start life down there. I don't want to be a coach right now.
Boy, because there's a lot to chew off. There's a lot to bite, and there's definitely a lot to chew, and even more to swallow.
Before we talk about more chewing and swallowing, you mentioned the head coach that's being brought in being on the same page as the general manager and or president of the team, like they have down there in Tampa with John Lynch, okay, when he took that job. The Atlanta Falcons, the team that you think is the sexiest job, the team that you're wearing their jersey right now, they hired Matt Ryan to run football operations for the Atlanta Falcons. I want your thoughts on if you're giving that a thumb up or if you're giving that a thumb down and why.
Well, 2 thumbs up. Just 2 thumbs up, and I'm ecstatic about the move. Why? Former quarterback getting an opportunity where he spent the majority of his career playing for, knowing the culture, knowing the ins and outs, knowing the fan base, knowing all about that organization. And I love the smarts of Matt Ryan. And when anybody would tell me any negative of why Matt Ryan can't do this or should not be the guy, I'm all ears. Because no, I don't have it figured out, but I'm all ears because what makes you think, or what has he shown that he can't get this job done? What is he showing? And so I go back. If somebody can take, in which you don't, and I don't want anybody to take out the Super Bowl because that's huge. Huge.
No, you said you don't want anybody to take that out.
No, because that's a huge point. That's a huge point. Not Matt Ryan's Super Bowl, but the next point I'm about to make about Super Bowl pedigree.
Okay.
Because that's going to separate him from some of the names I'm going to call. 2 names I'm going to call right now. John Elway had no experience when he went in the GM office.
Okay.
None. And his experience was that he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion and that he was a very good player and a Hall of Famer. Yeah. All right, we just talked about John Lynch. John Lynch was a Super Bowl champion at Tampa Bay, but he had no experience as the numbers of being a GM. So he was green as well. Right. All right, so now Matt Ryan, MVP, went to a Super Bowl, did not win one. What makes anybody think that he wouldn't get in that role or step in that role? And it's not a GM role. It's not a player of operations role. It's just a president of football role. Everything football he'll be handling. I think I'm safe with Matt Ryan.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, please, sir.
With your boy Joe Ham. This is One Life Stu, Ryan Stewart. Every Wednesday we're here. Thank y'all for choosing to be here. Chat room, I have not forgotten about y'all. Tons of questions and comments in the chat. Hopefully we'll be able to get to some of those. First question I want to ask you is, you played with the great Peyton Manning.
Yes.
How often did Peyton Manning make the decision on what call was going to be made on the football field?
Oh, goodness.
Well, just while you were there.
Oh, God. 96% of the time?
96% of the time.
I'm almost at all. But
Okay. All right. I'm glad you said that. You said 96% of the time. Ooh, I'm going someplace. Don't you do it. I'm going someplace. So Peyton made the decision of the call that was going to be made on the field. You say an estimated 96% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
How many times while you were with Peyton Manning did Peyton Manning change a call that the offensive coordinator sent on the field?
Oh gosh.
You don't have to be
same
exact.
Same percentage.
90%
Same
of the
percentage.
time.
Same percentage.
Okay.
And not in angst though. All right.
Not an X. No.
Not in that. You don't know what you're doing. Let me change.
Right.
It. No,
right.
Yeah.
But I see something better.
Yes,
I feel something better. 4 plays ago, XYZ just happened, and I see them with the same formation on the field now, or the same players on the field right now. So I know you sent this in, but because of what I've seen and what I've experienced in the first half, I'm going to usurp that or change that to do something that I think puts us in a better position to be successful.
I know where you're going, so go ahead.
That's why I don't like Matt Ryan for this position.
For one play, Stu.
No.
You said one play you're going to bring to me.
No, not for one play.
Okay.
For an entire Super Bowl that was lost. Joe, you can't
Clock
tell
management.
me.
Okay.
Joe, you can't tell me that the quarterback doesn't affect clock management. You can't tell me that a head coach and an offensive coordinator are not going to listen to said thoughts of quarterback that is the highest paid and a former league MVP. You can't tell me that when you got up 28-3 in the first half by running the ball, and in the third quarter, you don't run the ball and you find yourself in your lead dwindling. You can't tell me that Matt Ryan didn't have the power to say, I'm calling a timeout.
And I will
hey,
not tell
man,
you that.
why are we not running the ball anymore?
Yes.
We had a running back that had over 80 yards, almost 100 yards in the first half. Why do I keep dropping back, throwing the ball? Why are we stopping the clock? You know we're not up 28-3 anymore. Hey, coach, real quick. What's the call? So. Time out. Hey, coach, it's 3rd and 3 right now. I've got sacked X amount of times. You want to run a play that was the same play that I almost got sacked on before? If we do that, we're going to be out of field goal range, coach. Or not even timeout. Not even question. Hey, coach, why are we doing that? What's the call? X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, we're not doing that. What's the person that we got on the field? Okay, let's do this. Peyton does that. John Elway does that.
Yes.
You just mentioned John Elway being a GM. I know for a fact, and you played with John Lynch. John Lynch has taken over a defensive huddle and a defensive call as well. Leaders do that.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan didn't show me that. So if you tell me John Lynch might be a good GM, I've seen leadership on the field that allows me to understand,
Don't do that. You haven't seen leadership with Matt Ryan his entire career. Now, if you're going to put that one, and I agree, I couldn't stand that move. Everything you just said about that Super Bowl, it falls at the feet of Matt Ryan. But
I'm not talking about Matt Ryan's entire career. Maybe he exhibited that type of leadership. Maybe he's changed the call other than that. But during the biggest game of his life, he did not show that leadership. He did not act like Peyton Manning. He did not act like John Lynch. 2 guys you mentioned that's won Super Bowls.
Why does that have to have a negative impact on him being a president of football? I mean, able to do this, dude. Able to look at a practice and say a practice doesn't have enough energy going in. Able to look at, a wide receiver that you looking about or thinking about drafting in the NFL draft, and he said, "Nah, that man don't bend enough. That man don't come out of his routes good enough. That guy doesn't run crisp enough route on the route tree." Or what if he's looking at an offensive tackle and say he's a little bit heavy in the feet? What about all those things that he can do? He can do. Joe, that's what he's bringing to the situation, not the fact that he messed up in the Super Bowl. That don't correlate because I did my homework for this, dude. I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to say something to you because I didn't do it for you because we made it a point not to get each other's opinion on this.
Yeah.
But I'll bring you
The chat is lighting my behind up. Go ahead, Joe.
I'll bring you something. Ben Johnson. Do you think he's a pretty good head coach and offensive coordinator?
You make me sick to my damn stomach.
Do you think so?
I think he's great at what he does.
Do you think Kevin O'Connell at Minnesota is great at what he does?
I think he's great at what he does.
You think that Andy Reid is great at what he does?
He's got a few Super Bowls. There's no question. He's great at what he does.
When those guys were on the football field, and the first two I mentioned to you were quarterbacks, stunk. But that did not take away their job to go be an offensive coordinator or be a head coach and lead men. And I'm sure, and not in the Super Bowl, Stu, if you're going to hang your card on that, not in the Super Bowl, but because they fail on the field every now and then, doesn't make anything that where you get in that role that you can't do.
Joe,
and Mike Singletary was in Hall of Fame player, but couldn't coach.
That won Super Bowls.
But couldn't coach.
Right.
So I mean, that's why I want to give Matt Ryan a chance. That's it. Okay. I'm not saying he's going to be great. I want to give him a chance. That's why I like to hire him.
I think Matt Ryan is a great quarterback that did great things here in Atlanta. However, those other guys that you mentioned won Super Bowls. Now, those other coaches that you mentioned, before getting a head coaching job, they showed to be proficient as position coaches. Yeah. They showed to be proficient as offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and or special team coordinators. Matt Ryan ain't showed me none of that. And if you can botch a handful of decisions that need to be made in the Super Bowl, then why am I going to give you the opportunity to make the decisions on who we bring in the coach? Why am I going to make the opportunity for you to tell me the players that you think have that dog in them that we want to draft in the first or second round? Oh, no. He's not a first rounder. He probably should go on the third day of the draft. Why should Matt Ryan be empowered to do that when he didn't win a Super Bowl, when he's never been an offensive coordinator, when he's never been a defensive coordinator, when he didn't have the balls? I'm sorry. He didn't have the testicles to call a timeout and say, hey, what are we doing?
You are correct. I did this homework for you, Stu. I did this homework for our conversations, just for our listeners right now. I did this homework for you, and take this as you may. I listened to the whole presser with Matt Ryan yesterday. Yeah. I listened to the whole presser. His job is not to hire a GM. His job is not to hire the next head coach. His job is a consultant, some ears, somebody that I can lean on and give me some good insight. Not that I'm going to take it. Not that it's the last line. Not that you're going to go to Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan says this, then it's going to be all
He's not making that decision, but they're just taking input on these decisions from him.
Why not?
Right. But you can't find somebody that's done that job for 10, 15 years. You can't find somebody that's done that job for 4 or 5 years. You can't hire someone that has shown that success in doing that job at one of the other 31 franchises that exist. I just want the best. We hadn't won a goddamn thing. I just want the best.
And they created that for Matt Ryan. They didn't have that.
Create the position for him and pay him whatever you want that allows him to lead up the fan experience.
Don't do that. Now, Stu, you're knocking him now. You're knocking him.
I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking him.
No, you're going to put the guy outside the building? You're going to put the guy outside the building? Fan experience, Stu?
He's not going to be the
Come on.
Listen.
Come on.
No, he's not going to be the guy that makes the final decision. No. But he is the guy that's going to give input to the people making the final decision. You can't get that input from somebody that's shown to have success to do it because y'all were up 20-3. He was the former MVP, and he allowed everything. And no, in the chat room, no, he don't play defense. No, he don't play defense. He ain't got nothing to do with that. But he's got everything to do with what is done offensively on that football team when they're up 28-3. as the lead starts to change and y'all ain't doing nothing you did in the first half to get that insurmountable lead, why do I want him giving advice to the people that's making the decision? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's not going to work. Right. I'm just saying, and I don't question this at all, I'm confident that they can find someone that's done it before better than Matt Ryan may possibly be able to do.
For the record, about that Super Bowl and everything you're saying, wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. Everything about that Super Bowl you alluded to, wholeheartedly agree. I just want to get for the record my opinion about what happened, and a lot of people blaming Kyle Shanahan for it and hating Kyle Shanahan. Right. I agree with your sentiment about that. However, not about the Matt Ryan hire being president of football.
One more time for the record, and y'all can clip this. I am not saying that he is going to fail in his new position. I am just saying that he in his new position is the ultimate unknown. And that off the blank at 80 plus years old, and this franchise who hadn't won a Super Bowl are not in a position to experiment with someone that is going to be doing on-the-job training. You got the money and
that's not true, Stu.
To hire somebody else that has done it and has been successful doing it already.
Stu, that's not true, because we just alluded to John Elway and John Lynch had not done it before. We had to go back on their. We had to go back to their player on the field. They hadn't done it. They weren't in their roles.
They made decisions as players on the field that ultimately lifted their franchise and their team to a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan has not. He has not.
I gotta digress when you're talking about. Then that's why I alluded to when you have to bring up that Super Bowl.
And again, this ain't a right or wrong thing. And again, I'm not saying that he will not be wildly successful. I'm just saying he's an unknown with this $1 million job he just got handed.
I think Matt Ryan's a tremendous leader. I just think Matt Ryan's a tremendous leader.
I'm not saying he's not, but he didn't show that tremendous leadership when they were up 28-3.
Facts.
Lynch did. Peyton Manning did. John Elway did.
Facts.
So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying Arthur Blank ain't got time to keep shaking and blowing the dice. He gotta roll them bitches, man. Yeah, he gotta roll it, man.
Father Time is coming up.
Jerry Jones ain't got time to keep blowing on the dice and making decisions. Jerry Jones needs to, maybe because it's taken 30 years since he's been there, maybe Jerry needs to hand those decisions over to people that are the football people that have made those decisions before. Because he ain't having success doing it. The last time Jerry did it and got to a Super Bowl, it wasn't Jerry, it was Jim Johnson.
Well, that was Barry Switzer, but you're right.
Well, Jimmy won 1-2.
Yeah.
And then Barry followed up behind Jimmy when Jerry wanted all the power and the juice from Jimmy. When Jerry wanted the lights and the glitter from Jimmy and fired Jimmy. He brought in Barry Switzer, and Barry followed him up and did it again. But I mean, hey, Jerry hadn't shown me that that's in his wheelhouse.
No, you're correct. You're correct. I had no idea you was going to bake the whole decision of Matt Ryan, and he can't, or he might not do it just because of the Super Bowl.
I could be wrong. That's what ATL does. They experiment. They're always doing the weirdest ish possible. Is Matt Ryan responsible for Kirk Cousins' massive contract? No. Is Matt Ryan responsible for Penix being average? No, he's not. He's not. But in my eyes, side is broad, city broad. I'm sorry. In my eyes, Matt Ryan is responsible for the Falcons not having another Super Bowl or not having a Super Bowl. In my eyes, he's a big to-do with that, and that's why I feel
because it falls on the quarterback most often than not. But I'm not going to disagree with that.
You're the one that touched the ball every single snap on offense. Before we pay bills, Ken Lucas, man, this is Blank's apology to Ryan for going after Deshaun Watson. I've heard that multiple times, and I agree with that too. I'm fine with that.
A man that's trying to win the Super Bowl is going to do that, just trying to go throw gifts out there? Come on.
It can't be. That's
good stuff. That's good stuff.
Not with the two last twos. Up next with your guy in the huddle with Joe Ham and one live student Ryan Stewart. We're going to mention all of the playoff games briefly and talk about some of the significance of them. I need to apologize to Joe. I went off the rails this past weekend, and I called Joe while I was literally crashing out. And I am never big enough as a man to act like I'm never wrong. I'm wrong all the time. Hell, I just told y'all that Ozzie Newsome was a Raider. He's a Brown. Mistake by me. I was corrected by him. I'm not always right. But I'm going to
just most of the time.
I'm going to bring up one of my wrongs, and I'm going to highlight it because Joe tried to talk me off the ledge, and I hung up on him. A funny story. Y'all keep it locked. It's In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. From One Live Studio, Ryan Stewart. We'll pay these bills here briefly, and we'll be right back to talk about these final teams and also to get into the national championship. Y'all keep it locked.
Listen, I played in the NFL. I've taken enough shots to last a lifetime. And let me tell you this, taking a shot just to lose weight, that's not a smart play. That's why I roll with Brain IQ. The all-natural weight chews cut cravings, boost metabolism, and sharpen focus. No needles, no chemicals, no crash. Just results you can chew on. And Brain IQ is not just about weight chews. They've got a full lineup of all-natural products to keep your mind sharp, your body fueled, and your health on point. Skip the needles, choose natural. Order now. BrainIQHealth.com/REF/1LiveStew. Brain IQ Chews. Smart, natural, built for results.
In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder, tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, you can catch Doug and I right here on this same platform. Tomorrow morning at 6:30, you can catch Doug, Tree, and myself putting together the show that's going to go down at 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So if you've got the time, please jump on in the meeting with us at 6:30. If you've got the time, please come back and watch the show live at 7. But if you can't watch it live or be a part of the meeting, you have the opportunity to catch it whenever time allows for you. Again, this is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. We come here every single Wednesday to do what we're doing. And hey, man, an hour and 8 minutes is already gone.
Ooh.
And we've talked about two things. Before we move on to college football and spend a little bit of time there before we get up out of here, because I got someplace I need to go.
No doubt.
He texted him and told him I'm going to be late. I said, read the message. Yo, I know I told you I'd be there by 1:20, 1:30, but I'm going to be late. If you want to know why I'm late, log on to 2LiveStews, Facebook.com, 2LiveStews, YouTube.com, and watch In the Huddle with me and Joe Ham.
That's beauty. That's beauty. That's a beautiful thing.
So I'm going to be late. Joe, the Chicago Green Bay game was a game that absolutely blew my mind. Full transparency here, I had a small wager on that game. And my wager wasn't specifically on that game. My wager was in a parlay. So for me to win a 5-team parlay, I needed to win 3 more games, and that was the first of the 3 games that I needed to win because I'd already won 2 games prior to that. I'm not going to tip my hand and tell people or show people what I did or what I said. But in your humble opinion, I'm wanting you to explain to the listeners that are watching In the Huddle with Joe Ham what took place on the phone call when I called you at halftime of the Chicago Green Bay game.
This is over. This is over. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, hey.
What was over, Joe? What was I saying was over?
The game is over. You said the game was over, and I couldn't believe it. And I was trying to tell you about what Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears has done or did the entire season. Now, you can't bet on what they did, Stu. You cannot be betting and gambling that it will happen again. But at what point do you say, this is who they are? Now, Stu, I said that to you just knowing football, but I didn't say that with belief now. So don't put me up there like, hey, I was right and you were wrong. I was just telling you to watch it. Be careful because you talk about, you were the epitome of coming. I mean, I'm surprised you finished watching the game because you could have gone off and did something else.
I crashed out. and I wouldn't have gone back to watch the game, but I gave that game one more series. Mm-hmm. After halftime, when we got off the phone, I gave that game one more series. And in that series, the Green Bay Packers received the kick at halftime. In that series, the Chicago Bears stopped the Green Bay Packers with their first drive after halftime. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So after Green Bay gets the ball and I give them one more opportunity to see what's going to happen, and Chicago stops them, and then Caleb gets the ball and drives down the field and score, I say, okay, I'm now locked in for the remainder of the game.
Locked and loaded. And,
so Joe, I want to apologize to you, and I want to thank you for being a good friend. I want to thank you for reminding me, as a former NFLer, a two-time captain at Georgia Tech, a two-time captain at Berkeley High School, a special teams captain in the pros. I want to thank you for reminding me something that I knew. The game ain't never over until it's over. Please continue, Joe. I'm listening.
And I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but you were so emphatic.
I deserve you to dwell on it. Dwell on it if you want.
And my thing about it, you were so emphatic, and it almost had to get me to regroup. I said, he really believes this. And I say, still can't believe this, because I've heard him tell me speeches about, or things about how he would tell his kids not to do that, or how that's a part of his DNA not to do that. And especially with a team that's done it the entire season in a playoff game at home, I want to say wait a little bit, because I think you were trying to talk yourself into, and you weren't even gambling on that one. So then I'm like, I said, where you going with this one, Joe, man?
I crashed out with a team in this previous season had already exhibited and shown that they came back 6 times to win ball games.
Yeah. And out of those 6 times, Stu, 5 of those touchdowns came in the last 3 minutes of the game.
In the end of the fourth quarter.
Right.
Here it was at halftime, and I'm crashing out telling you how this game is over, how Ben Johnson shouldn't be able to look his players in the eyes, how Ben Johnson shouldn't go into the locker room and coach his team, how Ben Johnson should get checked by the team leaders when he comes into the locker room. And I called you with all that, and I acted like I didn't know that in the preseason, before the season even started, Ben Johnson called Grady Jackson up in front of the team to talk to the team about the 28-3 loss that they had.
Oh, yeah, Grady Jarrett. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Grady Jarrett, not Jackson, Grady Jarrett. He called up another player that was a part of a team, or called up another coach that was a part of the Buffalo Bills comeback when they were down 35-3, when Frank Wright took the helm and came in there and won the damn game. He asked that coach to take the floor and talk to his team before the season even started about how sometimes you may find yourself down, but that's not when you quit. That's when you dig deep, because we've seen in the past teams that were down by significant numbers found ways to come back to win. So if we ever, throughout the course of the 25-26 season, before we start the 25-26 season, if we ever find ourselves down during our upcoming season, remember what Grady Jarrett told you. Remember what Coach so-and-so told you they did in Buffalo. I called you crashing out about how this game is over and how Ben Johnson needs to apologize to his damn team at halftime.
And what happened, his team should congratulate Ben Johnson on what they did preseason, or what he did with Grady Jarrett and the former Buffalo staffer. But still, you did something that I want to take away from. Yeah, but you allowed me to think about something.
And that's why there's one live Stu Ryan Stewart. Go ahead, Joe.
That's why it was done. That's why it was done. That's why you see 7-game winning drives late, because he instilled that in training camp. He instilled that in one of the first staff meetings. That I'm not even judging you. I'm judging. And those type of coaches look, even when they're down, to see if any of their players' body language change. See if any of the guys, any of these players hold their head down. See if any of their players gripe and complain at halftime like you did. It was like, this one is over. What are we doing? All those type things, and it didn't happen. So that makes me think now, because I didn't put it in the rundown because I'd forgotten about it. Any problems, Ryan Stewart, with the handshake at the end of the game and what he said in the locker room about?
No.
Okay, none.
No.
I definitely don't have a problem in the locker room. In the handshake, he at least shook his hand.
Just shake it.
But I love a good old-fashioned rivalry.
Listen, man.
That's what I love.
Doug and I have talked about it for years. Doug more so than me. You shouldn't force none of those coaches or none of those players after a hard-fought game like that to go shake the opposition's hand. Some of them in their heart may not want to do that. Some of them in their heart may have been told something or called something on the field of play. Some of them in their heart may have been cheap-shotted during that ball game. And you're going to make them go across the field and shake the opposition's hand after taking that loss? Doug and I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But he did.
So when do you teach?
Sportsmanship?
Yes, sir.
Teach sportsmanship?
Yes, sir.
Every single day you teach sportsmanship.
Okay.
But what I know is this. After competition, and there's a win and a loss, if you put the loser on a podium in the locker room in the post-game presser, he's not going to be hee, ha, 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 Chessie, ha, ha, ha. He's not going to do that.
No.
He's going to be, I'm only here so I don't get fined. He's going to be, why you asked me that stupid question? I heard you ask somebody else that last week. Now's not the time to do that.
Yeah.
He can't be happy and he if he just got beat and is going home for the entire season.
Right. But you're talking in this situation, though, and I totally agree with you, but you're talking in this situation, Ben Johnson is the one and he won. He's the one didn't go over there and try to shake a hand. Right. So it wasn't because he was disgruntled. It was just, in my opinion, why I agree with it, or I don't have a problem with it, it's because I'm going to shake your hand because I'm obligated, but I don't really like your team because of the rivalry.
I don't like you.
I think that's healthy. I just think that's healthy.
I don't think like you, coach.
As the coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Or as the coordinator of the Detroit Lions. I don't like you, LaFleur.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to shake this hand because my contract says I have to. But damn it, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I don't want to. And I get that. I understand that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, me too. No worries.
Joe, Carolina game was phenomenal. Joe, the Green Bay game was phenomenal. In the rundown, here's your exact words. My goodness. NFL put on a show wild card weekend. All games were highly competitive. Before we move any further, Joe, please share your thoughts on any game that we may not have covered that you want to mention something before we go into what's next.
Yeah, I just want to mention and give a huge shout out, man. 4 out of the 6 games, like I was talking about, came down to the last possession, came down to teams being down and just the grit. And I love that. I love being able to watch a game that's in the all 4 quarters and it's back and forth. But I want to give a huge shout out to Kyle Shanahan, man. A huge shout out. I know what happened in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know he was the offensive coordinator. Miss me with that. I know he blew double-digit leads already in the Super Bowl. I understand. That's all on his back. He's going to have to live for that. But I'm talking the here and now. I'm talking about what I saw on Wild Card Weekend. I'm talking about what I saw with him doing with his team this entire season. Having Week 17 and playing playing for the division title, playing the host, all right, in a tough division. Fred Warner. I mean, is he one of the best linebackers, or maybe not the best?
Yeah.
Bosa, on defense, one of the best. And I think they lost their first round as well. They lost their first round pick as well.
They had two. They had two linebackers playing in that game that had just got there late in the season. Hadn't even been there the whole year.
Oh man! And McCaffrey beat up a little bit. Ricky Pearsall, from Florida, he wasn't playing. Brandon Ayuk, you didn't have him all season after you paid him. You left Trent Williams. How many games you was without your left tackle? Yeah. And when you lost George Kittle in that game, and specifically the wild card game, and you were still able to get the ball to Christian McCaffrey, and the whole world knows that he's going to get the ball somehow. He's the only offensive weapon that we have, and to still draw some things up and get that done, shout out to him. And the reason why I'm saying shout out to him so much, and I'm emphatically saying that, is because who they played, they did not do that. They have the Jimmies and Joes. Yeah. They had all the Jimmies and Joes in the Philadelphia Eagles. They had two dynamic wide receivers, a big-time explosive back, a quarterback the way they ran the ball. Kevin Petula ran the ball twice with Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I can see you not run him in the regular season, but now you're getting down to the playoffs and you don't exhaust his legs. No creativity at all. On the other side, got Shanahan doing what he did. It was a distinct difference between offensive genius is what I saw in that game in particular.
Joe, what's the name of the wide receiver? Jennings. It was Jennings that threw that pass to CMC, right?
Yes, it was.
It was the reverse where they pitch it to Jennings. Jennings act like he's going to run, and then he throws the ball down to CMC, who was wide open by himself. It was Jennings, right?
Yes, it was.
You do know that Jennings was a quarterback in college.
Yes, I do.
You do know that Jennings was ranked higher in the draft than Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow.
In the draft?
As quarterbacks, he was rated higher, either coming out of high school.
Oh, high school. Yes. Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
He was ranked higher as a quarterback coming out of high school than Lamar and Joe Burrow. So I just mentioned that to add emphasis to the comment that you just made about Shanahan. He knows who he has on his damn team. He knows that boy can throw a ball just as good as Lamar Jackson, just as good as Joe Burrow, just as good as Brock Purdy. He was a quarterback.
CMC didn't break stride. He had to make a great catch. He didn't break stride. Hey, I want to point out something real quick about that in detail, real quick about what you're talking about, that reverse play. How many times have you seen a trick play when the person doing the trick play rushes it or panics, so to speak, to where everybody knows it's coming, everybody gets a heads up? You've played safety position, almost like the flea flicker. Yes. If they don't sell that ball into the running back, if that running back don't get it and run at least a little bit to the line before he throws it back to the quarterback, you're not biting on that. You're not biting on that to safety. Jennings caught that ball and he ran 3 steps like he was running. Right. And then, that's all in coaching, man. I look at those things all in details of the coaching thing, and that's when I saw a really good cornerback in Cooper DeJean come up and bit. He wasn't going to bite at first, but then when he said, he is running it.
He holding that ball with all 5 points. He holding that ball high.
Yes.
Yeah, man. As a safety, when they run that reverse, unless that ball goes up under their arm, you got to stay back. And in this particular situation, to highlight what you're talking about, Jennings put that thing up under his arm to show the defense there's no chance of me pulling this thing down to throw it.
And took 3 steps.
But he pulled that thing down to throw
it. Beautiful, man.
They coached extremely well. I think Seattle beats the brakes off them this weekend because they're just not healthy. They're just missing too many pieces. And Seattle's got rest. And Seattle's got a massive defense. And Seattle's got Sam Darnold, who should be playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's got Njigma, the receiver, that is going to be real hard to cover out there. I just think that everything is set up for Seattle to blow the backs off of San Francisco, even though I said the same thing this past weekend.
Yeah.
I said San Fran didn't stand a chance versus.
Yeah. But Kevin Petula, the offensive coordinator that got fired for the Eagles, he is no Clint Kubiak, and Clint Kubiak is the offensive coordinator at the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Nah, Seattle Seahawks does a lot of eye candy, do a lot more with their offensive scheme, a lot more.
Okay, let's just get it on the record before we go pay some bills. Buffalo and Denver, who you like? The game is in Denver.
I like Superman.
And not having all the time in the world, Joe, but we can't even dig into Josh Allen.
That's why I said it quick. But you knew who I was talking about.
Yeah,
man,
I cannot deny him. I said Josh Allen. Yeah,
I can't deny him.
Patriots and Houston. It's a tough one for me too, Joe.
Defense wins when you pressure the quarterback the way you pressure the quarterback like that, and when you got lockdown players at all levels on the defense, D-line, linebacker, and in the secondary, that's hard. But Stu, what I saw CJ Stroud do in this playoff game in his third year was inexcusable.
Wait, stop. I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off. I'm sorry. Before you say what you're going to say, there is no way in the world CJ Stroud backs up the performance he just had, which was one of the worst I've ever seen in a quarterback in my entire life. In my humble opinion, there's no way in the world he has another dismal performance like he had in that game this past weekend. Now, please continue with your thoughts. No way in the world, Joel.
And I disagree because that's in his mind now, and he's going to try to override it. So that's why I'm going to Patriots. That's why I'm going to Patriots because that's a problem. That's a problem. And Mike Vrabel likes disguising things and confusing quarterbacks. And when you're going to take your eye off the snap, those little details, no, I can't do it. And you're on the road, I can't do it.
The only reason why, because I had money on the Texans too, had them straight up. The only reason why I didn't call you and crash out on how CJ Stroud had played was because I called you 2 nights before and crashed out. And I said, if I call Joe and crash out again, I could possibly lose a friend. He's going to stop taking my call during the game. He's not going to take my calls no more. I crashed out and hung up on you behind Ben Johnson. I can't crash out now on CJ Stroud. I can't. So I didn't call you with that.
It was almost close. It was almost close. It was right when we got some texts, and you texted me as well. Is CJ Stroud paid off? Is he trying to blow this game? Is he trying to?
I also sent you a text saying, not only is he point shaving, I think Guido, who is the name I refer to whenever someone's gambling, I think Guido's got his family. There's nothing he can do.
That's bad. That's bad. And Stu, for the record, and for our listeners, that doesn't easily go out of your mind.
No.
Somebody would tell you, say, wash that out, move on to the next play, or throw that film away. You can't throw that film away because that film is always going to be there. And those defensive linemen for the Patriots, they're going to tell you about that the entire game.
Well, you just made a decision for me when it comes to putting a little wager on that game. You did, because I'm hell bent on the Texans having a defense that will shape every game moving forward. But you're right. The only demon that CJ Stroud might be fighting this weekend is the demon that's in his own head.
Yeah.
Chicago Rams. Who you like in that game?
Champions. I have to go. That's the only separation I can give you. It's going to be a barn burner. Those guys play well offensively. Sean McVay and Ben Johnson, they know how to call a game. But Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford are champions, and I'm going with them. Although they have to travel and that weather's going to be inclement, I have to go with the Rams.
Quick 30-second break, and when we get back after the break on In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham, before we jump into the world of college football, I got a video from the National Football League I got to show Joe to get his thoughts. Y'all keep it locked. It's your boy One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. He is the Heisman runner-up in 1999, Joseph Hamilton, and this is In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham.
Needles? Man, please. I retired from those when I hung up my cleats. Why get poked when you can snack your way slim? Brain IQ chews are all natural, taste great, and keep you in the game. Shots hurt, chews work. BrainIQ.com/REF/OneLiveStew. BrainIQHealth.com/REF/OneLiveStew. Brain IQ chews. Smarter than shots, stronger than excuses.
He said, yo, get him.
Yeah, get him.
He catching me, get him.
Why are you smiling at me?
But I didn't see him. Were you looking at the screen?
No, I seen him. Hold on. You trying to show off your 22 miles per hour. Set him up. Why is smiling at me? Go block a guy. Awareness.
He said, block him. Awareness was out there. I never knew he was there.
How your big 280-pound ass walk his ass down like that, bro? That's the most crazy. That was the craziest thing with the whole series.
I just had to open up a little bit.
In the Hunter with Joe Ham on One Live.
I did not see that. Thank you for the
In the
hat.
Hunter with Joe Ham. Thank y'all for being here. In the chat room, thank y'all for your communications. We appreciate y'all bringing something to the table when we do the show. We appreciate y'all creating conversation. Thank you so very much. I just came back with a clip from the Cleveland Browns game, the end of the year, where 280-pound, 6'5", 6'6" Myles Garrett ran down a DB that caught the ball on a pick six. In the event that because you didn't know it was coming, in the event that you missed any of it, let's just watch a brief part of it one more time. Watch Myles Garrett, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", whatever he is, 280 pounds. Watch him being clocked at 22 miles per hour.
He said, yo, get him.
Yeah, get him.
He catching me, get him.
Why are you smiling at me?
But I didn't see him.
He was jogging too. It looked like he was almost jogging. Still, I'm not going to say you're not going to like this statement. I'm not going to say you're going to disagree with it. However, I'm going to let you know this. Myles Garrett should have stuck to his gun, man.
And when to get trade?
Yes.
I agree.
I mean, and I understand the money. I totally understand the money. And go ahead and whether it's bait, whether he did it, just was talking, because we're going to forget about him. And I'm not saying Cleveland, the franchise is, just, can't win. I don't know who they're going to hire as the head coach, but time is running out on his career. And that guy needs, for us, for me and you, needs to be playing right now. Wild card, needs to play divisional round. We need to see more of Myles Garrett. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to see more of him in Cleveland. That's the best football player in the National Football League.
He should be the league's MVP.
Yes, I don't disagree with that. Well, he can't just because of the record, but right. I agree with what you're saying. Record setting? Or you still think with the record?
Joe, he's the best player in the National Football League.
That is correct. Yes.
Joe,
Without a doubt.
He's 280 pounds. And not only did he catch the DB that had the ball, but he caught up to said DB and was having a conversation during the play. Like, what are you saying? The DB's like, get him. He's like, oh, him. Oh, okay.
If anybody else was running that fast, they can't
22 miles per hour.
Yeah, unhuman, man. Once in a lifetime player, generational type player that set the all-time lead in sacks. I agree with you, Stu. Best player in the National Football League, and if you don't want to rewrite history, he could have gotten some votes for the MVP.
In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I am One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. As we get ready to end today's show, man, thank you so very much for being here. We are finally here. From mid-August to January 19th, which will be this coming Monday. Number 1, the Indiana Hoosiers versus number 10, the Miami Hurricanes. My question to you is this. Will there be too many distractions for the Hurricanes down in Miami, where they're blessed to play the national championship at home in the Orange Bowl down at South Beach. Your thoughts, sir?
Yes, it would be too many distractions. Stu, we can't point our finger and say that because Carson Beck may have fumbled a ball or an interception was thrown or a missed block or missed assignment. We're not going to be able to go directly and say that's because there were distractions. That's because this game was played in Miami. No. But did you maximize your time in the film? Did you maximize your time and your focus on the practice field? Or were you thinking about your ticket situation? Or were you thinking about your neighborhood high school that's right around the corner that's also in Miami, that they're right around the corner? Now, I know somebody would say to me, aren't there going to be distractions for Indiana? Yeah, but for Indiana and some of those players that's way in the West Coast, their family's not that close. They don't have easy access to those guys.
Or in the Midwest, not the West Coast, in the Midwest.
Yeah, or in the Midwest, the family's not going to be that close, so no, it's not going to be the same distractions. They can't go from their hotel room to go to a local spot that they know about, or they can't go to the hangout. And not only that, and I hate to bring this up, but a player from Miami got robbed. Now, it wasn't this week. You brought it up. Yes, sir, Stu. Yes, sir.
I'm ready, sir.
I mean, so
Miami Hurricanes true freshman safety, Mr. Fitzgerald, was robbed at gunpoint while attending a party at an Airbnb in Florida City when two men entered the house with rifles, came straight to him. Give me the chain. Give me the jewelry. Give me every penny that's in your pocket, or you getting popped. This is the reality of the situation that the Miami Hurricanes are dealing with right now. Please continue, Joe.
Yeah, thank you for that. And what else it shows me, Stu, is that came straight for him. He's solo dolo.
Somebody called.
And he's solo dolo.
Somebody called.
So where are your teammates? When we were at Georgia Tech, I mean, we didn't get in those type of things, but we traveled deep. And when you go up somewhere now, you might get robbed or you might have a gun pointed at your head. And all of us have to lay down, but not just one person. I mean, where are your friends? Where are you together at? And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I've been to bowl games. I've been to, and right about now, or maybe tomorrow, they're going to really get locked down.
Yep.
So I'm not talking about Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday leading up to Monday when they have a curfew. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about now when you're practicing, now when you when you're loose, now when you're still in school. All those type things is going to go back on the leadership of Carson Beck, the leadership of Mario Cristobal and the coaching staff to make sure these guys know, can y'all chill for 1 week or a week and a half for the game of your dreams?
It's going to be hard for them to chill in Miami.
At home.
At home. This young man went to a party that he knew about. And without any knowledge or deep knowledge of the entire situation, I'm willing to bet a friend or so called him to come to a party that may have been a setup just to get his chain snatched and his pockets emptied.
Yes. Yes.
My rookie year, I come from Detroit back to Atlanta. I'm going to a club one night and I'm by myself. I'm always a loner. I'm by myself. I pull up in front of the club. Buddy in front of the club goes, "Hey, Stu, give me 30 minutes and I can park your car for you. But valet is full right now and they won't let me take any more keys. Give me 30 minutes and I'll get your keys and I'll park your car for you." And I said, "Man, don't worry about it. 30 minutes, I'll park it myself." I drive around the corner, back of the club, park the truck. As I'm walking to the front of the club, I hear, "Hey, man, no need for you to turn around. Just give me that watch." I unbuckle my watch and hand it back. "Hey, man, you got your wallet on you? Let me get that wallet." Put my hand in my pocket, hand him the wallet. And I stay there. He goes, "Don't move, homeboy. Hey, player, don't move. Stay right there, player. Stay right there, player. All right, here's your wallet." Gave me the wallet back after taking $500 out of it. Gave me the wallet back after taking my credit cards out. He didn't want me not to have my license. He just wanted my cash and them credit cards and that watch that I had on. Moral of the story is that young man in Miami wasn't thinking about that.
No.
After that situation I dealt with in Atlanta, I never, ever went out by myself again unless I was guaranteed a spot in valet where you're in front of the club, where there's security.
That's right.
I never parked my car by myself again.
That's right.
Unless you're ready to pull out a strap yourself, it's just something that you learn. But these young boys down in Miami, man, they're going to have all kind of distractions to deal with this upcoming week.
Yeah, and some of them, Stu, and some of them, Stu, going to be on the straight and narrow. And I've been hearing my voice, just to echo in my voice on the right shoulder, saying, "What about Mendoza going back home and the people he know in Miami? He's a mile away from Hard Rock Stadium. Right. He knows the outlets too." And it's going to be maybe a problem for Indiana when they get down there as well, that they want to go out and enjoy the festivities. Yeah. So this game goes back to leadership. Who can focus on the game at hand? Yeah. Because it's going to be a great game, Stu. This is strength against strength. Yeah. I mean, this is in the trenches. Both teams love the trenches to death. Yeah. So with that being said, man, I'm still going with the Miami Hurricanes, who I picked when this bracket came out. And yes, sir.
I understand you sticking with your pick. I understand you riding the horse that brought you to the party. However, are you just riding that horse because that horse made it and you might as well stick with it? Or is there something in your mind that says, yeah, I'm going to say Miami, but at the end of the day, I like Indiana more than I like Miami?
Oh, there's no doubt about it that in my mind, Indiana is going to win this football game.
Okay, thank you.
But I have to stick with the lady that brought me. I have to stick. I can't go against that right now. And I am rooting for Miami. Why I picked it is the ACC. But yeah, I have Indiana being the better team, more well-coached team, and dare I say, the more grown men on their team.
Joe, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Can you please share with me who you think has the upper hand when it comes to quarterback in this game? Is it Fernando Mendoza? Or is it Carson Beck? Mind you, this ain't Carson Beck's first rodeo. It's Carson Beck's. This will be his third championship, if I'm not mistaken. He played in one as a player, and because of his injury, he sat out in one. So, am I right with that, or am I wrong?
No, you're not right in terms of starting. He backed up Stetson Bennett for 2 national championships, so he has 2. And he played in that game that they blew out TCU. So he did play in that game, but as the game was out of hand, he played. But he was injured. It's clearly Mendoza. Mendoza.
Back to the balance scale. You put one on one side and one on the other. The scale tips which way and whose favor?
Way over to Mendoza's favor, because Mendoza is not loose with the church's money. He's not loose, and I'm talking that football. Mendoza protects it. Mendoza has a better grasp of the offense. Although both of these quarterbacks, why I really admire them, Stu, is that these are one-year quarterback in the system. So to go to Indiana and right away grasp the system, making audibles at the line of scrimmage, to go to Miami coming from Georgia, to grasp the offense at the line of scrimmage this early and to make it here, it's going to be on the quarterback. But you know who the quarterback's best friend is that running game, and which team can control the line of scrimmage is going to come out on top, and that's what Miami loves to do. Shout out to Mario Cristobal, being a former offensive line, and that's his identity of that football team in the trenches. Indiana has a better team. Indiana, in my opinion, is a more well-coached, but will that home field advantage be a little bit, or will it be known? I know it's going to be known outside the building because people can get into park and walk there and show their colors and show their spirit and their school pride, but it's still expensive to get in there unless you're an alumni of the Hurricanes.
In the huddle with your boy Joe Hamilton, this is One Live student Ryan Stewart. I want to show a graphic to you. And before I show this graphic, you and I talked about this in detail last week. You and I agreed that this is one of the reasons why the Indiana Hoosiers have shown a certain level of dominance this college football playoff and this college football season. Take a look at this. College football talent comparison. Oregon, 6 5-stars, 52 4-stars, 27 3-stars. Miami, 5 5-stars, 44 stars, 36 3-stars. Ole Miss, 3 5-stars, 33 4-stars, 39 3-stars. And then the lowly Indiana Hoosiers, 0 5-stars, 7 4-stars, 55 3-stars. Joe.
Whoa. So how did NIL buy that team?
I got an answer for that too.
I mean,
I got an answer for that too. And the answer to that is briefly right here. Number of oldest teams in college football. There's 47 players on the Indiana Hoosiers team that are 22 to 25 years old. In the National Football League, there's only 140 players that are in the age of 21 to 22. So Indiana has 47 players between the age of 22 and 25, and there's 140 players that's 21 to 22 in the National Football League. What's that tell you? Indiana has a roster full of older guys that more than likely, more so than Miami, will respect this moment that's coming up. And more than likely, more so than Miami, will have guys that will put themselves in the same position that the freshman safety, Mr. Fitzgerald, put himself in a few days ago. Indiana has shown us to have guys that are mentally more stable and older to handle the pressures that the young five stars just may not be up to handle.
My. Stu, that's good stuff. That's awesome stuff. And here's the deal though, Stu. And it's not a however, and it's not a but. You graduated from Georgia Tech at 23.
I was 24.
I graduated, what's 24?
Yeah, I was 24 because I graduated 2 off seasons after leaving Georgia Tech.
My fault.
You're not saying I left Georgia Tech at a certain age. You're saying I graduated. When I graduated, I was 23, 24.
No, I take it back. When your last game against the Bulldogs, your senior year, you were 23.
I was 21 or 22 years old because I have an August birthday. I got to Georgia Tech at 17 years old.
Okay, perfect. Me, I was 23. Why? I got redshirted. Most people that get there at 18 and they spend 5 years on campus, they're going to be 23 years old. That's not out of the realm for them to be 23 years old outside of the COVID year. So, but I look at those 5 stars, those 3 stars and 2 stars in Indiana. But this is my deal. Elijah Surratt. Why didn't anybody want him on their roster? This kid came from Elon. So this is about talent and evaluation. You know how many people followed their coach Signetti from James Madison? You talk about these guys. From James Madison to Indiana.
Yes.
So you're talking about these guys. When you look at it, it's 3 stars and not many 4 stars at all. You have to have the talent evaluation with it. You have to have building the roster like the NFL type mindset to where's my mix, where's my fit going to be? And Fernando Mendoza, he wanted to go to Miami. Mario Cristobal was the head coach when he came out of high school. He went to all camps there, could walk to the stadium. And even it came down to when he transferred from Cal, that's when Miami started to recruit him, Stu, out in the transfer portal, and he decided to go to Indiana. Was it because or was it because he just wanted to go to Indiana? So you can flip it how you want to flip it, but it comes down to not flip it, but the end of the day.
No, I understand what you're saying.
End of the day, can you coach them up? Can you build a roster? Because I will say this: last year, Ohio State Buckeyes bought a championship.
They bought a team. Yes, they bought a championship.
Well known.
Yeah,
I don't see it the same this year with the Indiana Hoosiers.
Can I ask you a question as we get ready to wrap up In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham? I am One Live Stu Ryan Stewart. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you see Indiana during ball games making senseless mistakes like you see in Miami?
Never.
Miami will start this game without their starting safety because he's suspended for a half a targeting. I don't know if that's the same safety as Mr. Fitzgerald that got robbed, but if it's not, you got one safety that's out for a half because of targeting. You got one safety that got a gun put to his head and said, "Give me your jewelry." Mentally, that's got to do something to you.
Yes.
I didn't see Indiana in any of their games this postseason in the college football playoffs, hitting people out of bounds and getting 15-yard penalties. I've seen Miami do that 3 or 4 times in college football playoffs. My point is that the older players, 22 to 25, there's no choice but for them to respect this opportunity that they've got to win the national championship just a tad more than the guys that's 21 and 22.
No question.
Just a tad more. We've seen, I think at one point in time in the last game with Miami, they were penalized 60 yards or 70 yards to Indiana's 15 yards.
Yes. Yeah.
So in a
that makes a difference.
In a national championship game, I need that damn 60 yards. I need that 60 yards bad. You can't give me a minus 60 on the play sheet. You can't do that.
Nope.
So you can't be missing a half for a targeting penalty when you're my starting safety, because I got to put the backup in. The backup's not as good as you, but I'm forced to play with him for a half. What mistakes are he going to make while he's out there that first half in that Indiana-Miami game?
The game could be over
by the time the second half starts, when the starting safety gets back in there. So that's another reason, slight reason. It's hard for me to go against Miami. I showed you their roster and how many players they got on there. I showed you this. You looked at this.
Oof.
But the age difference may play a significant factor in why one team has success and one team doesn't, or why one team has targeting penalties and the other doesn't, or why one team has given up 60 yards and flags for late hits and the other team hasn't.
That's a beautiful point. And I'll add to this as we close to, I'll add this to you, brother. And the talent gap is not that much different. And the talent gap is not that much different because the better quarterback is the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, and look at those wide receivers. I know Malachi Tony is an outstanding player, all-world player, scat back, can do it all, can throw it, can run it, can make you miss. I mean, in the end, it's not a team full of just nobodies, man.
Right. Okay. I'm very glad you said that. Thank you for saying that. Joe, I love you, man. Man, I love you. Okay, I love you,
Tomlin.
Okay, real quick. You talked about the players and the Heisman quarterback. Take a look at this. The comparison of Heisman winners.
Oh,
look at this.
Boy.
Jaden Daniels is on our left. Fernando Mendoza is on our right. There's no comparison in the numbers between these two guys. Hold on.
Whoa.
Look at this. Fernando Mendoza on the right. Joe Burrow on the left. No comparison to the better player.
None.
In these two.
None.
Okay. But you know something?
Wow.
You know something that we can't compare? The roster that Jaden Daniels had in LSU when he won his Heisman. The roster that Joe Burrow had in LSU when he won his Heisman. Joe Burrow played on a team that may have been better than the Miami Hurricanes team back when they won it decades ago. They had 5 stars and all pros or all stars in DBs, running backs, receivers, O-line, tight ends, linebackers everywhere. And Mendoza doesn't have that. But what Mendoza does have that Jaden Daniels didn't have and Joe Burrow didn't have back in the non-NIL and non-transfer portal area, what he does have is almost 50, 22 to 25-year-old men that respect this damn thing a little bit more than the average college player, in my humble opinion.
Whoa, boy.
I think if you put Fernando Mendoza in Jaden Daniels' shoes back in LA when he was there, I think Mendoza could have the same success or maybe even generate the same numbers that Daniels did. I think, and I could be wrong, this is just a thought. I can't factually tell you this because this didn't happen. But I think if you take Fernando Mendoza and put him on Joe Burrow's team back in Joe Burrow's last season when Joe Burrow was at LSU, and let Mendoza play with those guys that Burrow played with, that LSU does the exact same thing, no matter if Mendoza generates the same numbers that Burrow generates or not.
Here you go.
I think the system and the players have a lot to do with it. But I think football-wise and quarterback-wise, Mendoza's one of the best we've ever seen playing in a college football playoff championship.
Yeah, that is a great stat, Stu, and I disagree wholeheartedly with Mendoza and Jaden Daniels. Okay. And I agree wholeheartedly with LSU.
Because Jaden Daniels did not have the roster that Joe Burrow had. You're exactly right.
Just because of the Heisman. No, just because of the Heisman deal, because Jaden Daniels did that with almost having 1,000-yard rushing.
That's true.
So most of his was that. So I mean, he couldn't put up those numbers because it was mostly that dual threat. Yeah. But and Joe Burrow was pretty elusive too. But when you look at Joe Burrow's numbers and Mendoza would do the exact same thing. And I saw that comparison. I think that it wasn't that because that was magnificent what you showed. But when some people laughed at Mendoza's numbers compared to Joe Burrow's or other Heisman Trophy numbers, I laughed at them and said, "Hey, whoever put that up don't quite know sports." And the reason I said that, Stu, because he won it because nobody else. Look at the numbers of everybody else this year. Right. I mean, nobody else had better numbers than him this year. Now, would he have won the Heisman in those numbers back then? No, but this year nobody was up to par. We were searching for Heisman Trophy candidates. So that's why the difference. But I firmly believe that Mendoza can do the same thing in LSU.
Who you like, Joe? You told me you're riding with Miami, but give me a score, Joe.
I think this is a grinded out physical one, man. I think this is God, Stu, this is contradicted. I'm gonna have to be real with you. Stu, my heart tells me, and what I'm predicting as an analyst and my job on the line, I'm saying 27-19 Indiana. But if Miami was to win, and I think they're going to, I want them to win, I think they're going to have to win in a shootout, which would be 31-27.
I like it. I get that totally. I get that wholeheartedly. I think Indiana wins this game by 2 scores or more. When I choose games before I put the church's money or the kids' money on it, and it's never big money. It's never big money. I mean, over the course of a season, if you look at the math and add it up, it's like, damn, that's a big number. But week to week, it's $25 here, $50 there. If I feel real strong about something, it's $100. But that, it ain't big money. I want to remind you this. If you ever see anything that you want graphic-wise on the show or video-wise on the show, please let me and Tree know and we'll have it. Because I don't want people seeing and thinking this. I love you, Mocha Bella. She's down in Miami. She said that was a setup, referring to the graphics and the questions that I asked you prior to graphics. No, Mocha, it's not a setup, but I do like to set up the graphics I'm about to show. So no, I'm not trying to set up my buddy.
No.
I am trying to set up the graphics.
No, Mocha Bella, I know it can't be a setup because it is well prepared and well homeworked. But I have to give kudos to those graphics, and I'm going to step my graphic game up. That's. I mean, what you did today, man, that put from a 5-star show. That's 5-star right there, brother.
We just talked about this a few days ago. How in this business, if you can create a source to back up your thought and opinion, you should do so. Graphics, videos, are calling people within the industry that may have knowledge of the topic that's being talked about is all a way to cite our sources. And that's all those graphics did for me. They cited sources to help sell what I was trying to deliver.
We didn't even talk about one thing about pulling up that Fitzgerald, dude. And you put up that Fitzgerald just as too. I mean, that's spectacular, man.
Yeah. I've got about 8 to 10 more graphics in here that we didn't even talk about because it didn't come up. But had we talked about certain things, I got stuff in here to pull up and say, hey, why did you mention that? Look at this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm trying to produce this thing for you, man. I want you to have those crests. Somebody asked these ninjas who stole my weed. Blah, blah. Alex Rose 3365. Come on, man. Come on. DJ Chuck 4459. Ben Johnson made the adjustments at halftime. left guard Joe Thuney played much better, and the Bears got their running game going with Swift and Monagal. Sir, thank you very much for that, DJ Chuck, 4459. Joe and I have talked about this offline. They ran man-to-man in that first half with the secondary in Chicago and the linebackers in Chicago. There were several times where there was a mismatch for the Chicago Bear linebacker because he was on a receiver that was a back or that was a speedy receiver. He
had no business on him. Had no business
on him. In the second half, they went to a zone on them Mickey Fickies.
A zone. Hey, it was almost like Matt LaFleur and his staff, Hapley, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, defensive coordinator, they rest on their laurels. It's almost like they talk just like you at halftime, that this one is over. That they didn't make any adjustments, and Ben Johnson and his staff did. Yeah. Dennis Allen.
Thank you very much, Joe. Would you have the same problem if they had brought back Michael Vick in an advisory role? No, god dang question, I would have had the same problem. I'm not talking about Mike Vick and Matt Ryan, the quarterback. I'm not talking about Mike Vick and Matt Ryan, the player. I'm talking about Mike Vick and Matt Ryan, the front office exec. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Look at the season Matt Ryan just had. I'm sorry. Look at the season Mike Vick just had in the HBCU. His team didn't do that well. What are we finding? One game. This was his first season at doing this job. Yeah, he learned on the job this year. I'm hoping next year he has a better overall showing. But yeah, I didn't expect Mike Vick to come in and win 10 games this year. I expected him to struggle. First time at the job. I'm going to get to one or two more of these. Richard Bullock. Thank you for being here, Richard. Falcons tried to find someone better. It wasn't worked out. That could be the point too. But yeah, in my eyes, instead of finding someone that may be less than in that situation, if you can't find somebody that's better that wanted it, go to somebody that's better and offer them more money. Blake's got money.
It's a fine line, and Stu, I get where you're coming from. It's just a fine line between going and getting somebody that nobody's talked about and then going and getting a retread. And I know you're not talking about a retread, just somebody for an organization that's successful and hire them away. Right. But sometimes you just want to start brand new and create your own thing in your interview process.
Let me add this one more time before we get out of here, man. I am wishing Matt Ryan the best.
I get that. I know where you're coming from.
Because when football is good in Atlanta, that creates job opportunities for me. Bars and lounges and clubs and sports bars, cigar bars. They're not asking the Stews to come host no event when the Falcons are on TV and the Falcons ain't winning no football games.
That's right.
But you find the Falcons winning games at the Dome or at Mercedes-Benz or not, even on the road. You find people that's more excited about trying to get more Falcons fans in their building. And what are they going to be willing to do? Spend more money. So yeah, when football is working in this city,
love your thinking, brother. Yeah,
people work more in this city. When you're on a 5-game losing streak, the one bar that we had booked to come and go, they canceled. Like, never mind. Showed me how we need to make sure that when people do book us, they need to give us a deposit so that make them less likely to cancel. Because if things go bad for the football team and the crowd ain't coming to the Dome no more, ain't nobody gonna pay for us to come and do no tailgate.
You were clear that you're not rooting for Matt Ryan to fail, but you were also clear in my conclusion that I know and I wrote down. I wrote down right here is that if Matt Ryan had been a Super Bowl champion, you would have no problem with this decision.
If I had seen Matt Ryan make calls in that Super Bowl to stop what was happening from happening, I would have more confidence in him as a leader.
Gotcha.
And question his leadership skills because I saw him allow a 28-3 lead to go to where they lost the football game. That's what
and your examples were spectacular about Peyton Manning because I had no comeback with that. I mean, because Peyton was going to allow that to happen.
You've seen him leave.
Not on his watch. Not on his watch.
You've seen him leave. I asked you a couple of weeks ago, how many times do backups get first string reps in Indy while Peyton was there? And you said none. That wasn't because of the head coach. The head coach wants his backup to have reps.
Yeah.
That was because Peyton Manning went to the head coach and said, hey, man, here's why we're not going to give the backup rep. I want them all.
My God, when we have time in the offseason when things die down a little bit and we don't have much content, I'll tell you about this time Peyton Manning got on me in the backup for not doing our job up to his standing. I mean, you were almost thinking that, are you the coach, dude? I mean, this is practice.
Yes,
that's like nobody's business.
You just told me Peyton changes calls 96, possibly. It wasn't a guarantee. Maybe in your eyes or estimation, 96% of the time. That's all I need to know.
Tom Moore did this, man. Tom Moore did this.
And for the record, I had Tom Moore in Detroit. Tom Moore was one of my coaches in Detroit.
Yes.
So I know Tom Moore. When they're running the play, he's watching. Yeah. I know Tom Moore.
Okay. Tom Moore would do this often. He would look and point at, it's on you, Peyton.
You.
I mean, he'd be confused and see what he want, boom, 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 and you take it.
Hey, man, my head coach, Dennis Swigert, one time sent a play in with me because I was a starting safety, but I ran tailback also. One time he pulls one of the players out, it's that tailback position, and he gave me the call. And the call was for the left side, for me to run the ball to the left side. And I said, hey, my cousin, who was a really good offensive lineman, is on the right side. Hey, coach, can we run the same play but to the right? So-and-so is on that side blocking. You're damn right. Do that.
Yeah.
As a player, he trusted me as a high schooler to know and understand what was going on. So, yeah, Tom Moore looked at the play sheet and then looked at Peyton like, nah, you go ahead. What you want to do? Right. You show me the leadership and the courage to do what's right out there to put us in the best position possible for this play.
Yeah.
I didn't see that overall for Matt Ryan. And maybe Matt did that and I just don't know. But I do know I saw them run the ball to establish a 28-3 lead in the first half. And I do know that I watched that lead just dwindle.
Yeah.
And they ultimately lost the game. And that was under Matt Ryan's leadership that happened.
Agreed. Clock management.
There's no doubt in my mind that the coach that Shanahan is now, part of the reason why he's the coach that he is now is because of that 28-3 loss.
That's right.
Ain't no doubt in my mind. He learned from that.
Yeah.
Did Matt Ryan learn from losing that 28-3 ball game? They never got back to another Super Bowl. They never got back to another opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. I just wonder if there's someone else like a Peyton Manning that Arthur Blank maybe should have offered that job to. I get why he's offering Matt Ryan. I get it. There's love there. There's a familiarity there. Maybe it was because he did thumb his nose at Matt Ryan by offering Deshaun Jackson or trying to get Deshaun Watson to come in here. But everybody in the chat room, man, thank y'all. We can't appreciate y'all enough. I tell y'all thank you enough for being here and spending time with us on In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Thank y'all very much for being here. Joe Ham, to you, thank you, man.
Ah, goodness.
Good job. I mean, 2 hours and 8 minutes are nothing but fun and fire. Thank you, Joe Ham.
Spectacular, brother. Feel good.
God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. If you don't know him, you need to find him and show him love because that's all he's showing you. Nothing but love. We get your thoughts on the games. We'll be back next week to chop it up and say this was right, this was wrong. Enjoy the games this weekend and enjoy the game on Monday until we chop it up on Wednesday. Appreciate you, Ham.
Be safe, my brother. Get to your appointment, man. You're late.
I'm real late.
You Hollywood late. You more than Hollywood late.